Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the place you come to plunge into complex topics and, well, hopefully pull out some compelling insights, surprising facts, maybe even those aha moments. Today we're tackling something that, let's be honest, often feels huge, relentlessly negative, and frankly, just overwhelming. The climate crisis. For so many of us, the whole conversation around climate has just become synonymous with fear, right? Despair, this feeling of powerlessness. It's a really heavy narrative, and it can leave you feeling stuck, just wondering, is there even a real way forward here? But what if there's a powerful voice out there daring to shift that entire perspective? Our deep dive today is into Ayana Elizabeth Johnson's really extraordinary curated collection, What If We Get It Right? And this isn't just another book about climate change. It's a pretty radical reframing. Instead of asking, what happens if we fail, which we hear all the time, it flips the script, asks a much more, invigorating question. What if we succeed? So our mission today is to really unpack this vision, explore how it might move us from that paralysis state to possibility. Rooting a hopeful future in science, yes, but also in collective imagination.
And that reframing, that's absolutely critical, as you just laid out. I mean, for too long, the main climate discussion is focused so much on the threats, the losses, and look, that urgency is real, no doubt. But it's also led to this widespread fatigue, this sense of powerlessness you mentioned. So many people feel it. What's fascinating here is how just shifting that central question can unlock a completely different kind of energy. By daring to actually articulate what success looks like. Well, this approach moves beyond just reacting to problems. It invites us into proactive creation. It's about designing a future we actually want to live in. And that's a much more powerful motivator, I think, than just trying to avoid catastrophe. It really addresses that deep exhaustion, from the constant bad news. And it opens up a space for genuinely productive thought and action.
That's a really powerful way to put it. So, okay, let's unpack this core premise a bit more. What if we get it right? Isn't like a single manifesto, right? It's more like a vibrant symphony of voices. The book is this rich collection, essays, poetry, interviews, these vivid visions from a truly diverse group. We're talking scientists, artists, community leaders, indigenous thinkers, activists from all over the globe. And it's this mosaic, this mix of perspectives that makes the central idea so compelling that by consciously using our collective imagination, we can envision a future where humanity takes bold, decisive action. And genuinely succeeds in tackling the climate crisis. It's not about wishing, really. It's about designing.
It's exactly designing. And it's hard to overstate just how powerful that mental shift is. Moving from constantly dreading failure to actively imagining success, it's a total game changer for our psychology, but also for our strategy. And this isn't about naive optimism or pretending the huge challenges aren't real. Not at all. It's about channeling human ingenuity and that collective energy in a constructive direction. By articulating what a desirable, thriving future looks like, we actually give ourselves a target. We move past that fear-driven paralysis and into proactive engagement. And the book makes it really clear this vision is firmly rooted in rigorous science, in what's actually possible. But it's expressed through creativity, collective imagination. These aren't soft skills, right? There's essential tools for inspiring broad action, for building a truly compelling picture of a future we want, not just one we fear.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's brilliant, I think, is that the book doesn't just offer this vague hope. It paints incredibly concrete visions across several key areas. It outlines these specific pillars for this hopeful future, showing us exactly where success could manifest. So let's dive into those. There are 4 main themes where success is really vividly imagined through all these different voices. So if we're daring to get it right, where does Ayana Johnson's collection start? Well, maybe unsurprisingly, the first big piece of the puzzle is our energy future. Specifically, a truly rapid, comprehensive, clean energy transition. The vision here is swift global adoption of renewables and a complete decisive end to depending on fossil fuels. But what does that actually look like in a thriving future? Is it just, solar panels everywhere? Or is the book seeing something bigger, more transformative?
Well, it's much bigger than just individual panels, yeah. The book paints this picture where renewables, wind, solar, geothermal, they don't just supplement our current grid. They become the dominant source.
Right.
Reliable, affordable, globally. There's one essay, for instance, that envisions solar scrapers.
Solar scrapers?
Yeah, entire city buildings integrated with photovoltaic tech. They become energy generators themselves, not just users.
Wow.
And another piece really delves into this concept of energy democracy, where local communities, especially those historically marginalized, actually own and manage their renewable infrastructure. through microgrids, that kind of thing.
Okay, so it's local control too.
Exactly. So this isn't just about switching the energy source. It's about transforming local economies, shifting political power, cleaner air for everyone. It shows how rapidly we can transition when policy, innovation, and community leadership actually line up, leading to healthier, more stable energy systems. Systems that aren't, at the mercy of volatile fossil fuel markets anymore.
That idea of energy democracy is really striking. It's not just tech, it's a social shift.
Yeah.
Okay, the second pillar takes us to rewilding and restoration. This is about protecting biodiversity, actively restoring ecosystems, regenerating our soil or oceans. I mean, that's a massive scope, right? From tiny microbes in the soil right up to the huge ecosystems in the deep sea. It feels like a profound recommitment to nature itself, not just as a resource, but as a living system.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this pillar is about so much more than just conservation. It's about actively healing the planet, ensuring ecological resilience, which is just fundamental to any successful future.
Right, resilience.
Yeah, and when we talk about ecological resilience, the book brings in some fascinating examples, like how restoring mangrove forests in coastal areas doesn't just protect unique species, it also acts as a natural barrier against storm surges.
Which is becoming increasingly vital.
It's exactly, with sea levels rising. So it's not just saving pretty trees, it's building natural infrastructure. Other pieces explore regenerating degraded farmland through things like permaculture, regenerative farming, improving soil health, capturing carbon, boosting food security.
So it connects to food as well.
Directly. And one story even imagines this global effort to restore kelp forests, creating these vast underwater habitats crucial for marine life, ocean health. It's really about recognizing how interconnected everything is, understanding that healthy ecosystems provide essentials like clean air, fresh water, climate regulation, foundational to our well-being.
Okay, this brings us neatly to the third pillar, equitable communities. And this one really drives home that this isn't just about environmental things as in isolation. It's about building inclusive, fair, resilient societies where justice is absolutely central to climate action. It really digs into the social structures underpinning these environmental issues. Why is justice so inseparable here? Isn't it just about clean energy and ecosystems?
Well, that's precisely the point the book makes so powerfully. It argues we can't truly get it right if we leave anyone behind, or if we just perpetuate existing inequalities. Yeah. And the book's strength here really shines. It includes indigenous wisdom, voices from marginalized communities, young leaders, showing how their perspectives aren't just important, they're essential. Essential for designing solutions that actually work for everyone. For example, there's an essay featuring an indigenous leader talking about traditional land management practices. Practices often overlooked, right? But they hold keys to forest regeneration, sustainable resource use, things Western science is only now rediscovering in some cases. Other piece highlights youth activists. They're not just demanding change, they're designing community-led climate solutions that explicitly tackle historical injustices in their own neighborhoods.
Like what kind of injustices?
Things like, disproportionate pollution burdens or lack of access to green spaces, real tangible stuff. So this raises that critical question.
Yeah.
Who actually benefits from climate action if justice isn't prioritized? If we build a new energy system, but it leaves behind communities that relied on fossil fuel jobs, or if the solutions hurt vulnerable populations more, then we haven't really succeeded, have we?
No, definitely not.
Equitable communities mean everyone gets a fair say, a fair share, a safe, resilient place to live, with solutions designed by and for the people most impacted.
That's such a crucial distinction. It's not just what we build, but who builds it and who benefits. Okay, and this leads to the fourth pillar, which for me, this is where it gets really interesting. Cultural shifts. The book envisions changing not just policies and technologies, but also the arts, storytelling, the very way people imagine the future. This goes beyond the technical fixes, right into our fundamental worldview. How can stories and art be such powerful tools for climate success? It's not usually the first thing we think of.
You're absolutely right. It often isn't. But this is where that collective imagination really comes into play. Cultural shifts actually underpin all the other changes we've talked about. Policies, technologies, they're important, of course. But they often grow out of our underlying values and the stories we tell ourselves.
Okay.
I mean, if we keep telling stories that prioritize endless consumption or depict nature as just something out there separate from us, then our actions will follow that path. The book features artists using things like immersive VR to let people experience restored ecosystems, feel that connection.
I see. Making it visceral.
Exactly. There are poets crafting new myths about our relationship with the planet. Designers reimagining everyday objects to embed sustainable values. By fostering these new narratives through art, literature, even just everyday conversations, we can transform societal values, inspire action, move away from unsustainable practices. It's about creating a shared vision of a desirable future that motivates us to actually build it, fundamentally shifting our relationship with each other and with the planet. It makes that abstract future feel tangible, desirable.
So, okay, after diving into these incredible visions, let's try to summarize the overall impact of what if we get it right. It undeniably inspires readers, helps us think beyond that fear and despair, which is honestly a huge accomplishment in itself. It brilliantly pulls together voices from so many different fields: science, art, politics, activism, indigenous wisdom, creates this rich, multifaceted tapestry of ideas. And it really does seem to balance realism with hope, making those climate solutions feel genuinely possible. So what are some of the key takeaways here for you, the listener, navigating this really complex topic? How does this book help us get past maybe information overload and find those aha moments?
Well, you've hit the strengths perfectly. It provides that much-needed counter-narrative to all the gloom. Now, when we look at any collection like this, it's also worth talking about what some might see as quote-unquote weaknesses. But in this case, I'd really frame them more as insights into the book's unique purpose.
Okay, how so?
Well, the source material notes that some essays are more visionary than, say, immediately practical, which might frustrate some readers looking for a literal step-by-step roadmap.
Right, a how-to guide.
Exactly. But this is precisely where we need to understand the book's unique contribution. It's explicitly not a blueprint. Its role is different. Its role is to spark imagination, to demonstrate possibility, which is a different but equally crucial step in the journey.
I see. Sparking the idea first.
Precisely. And yes, that hopeful tone might feel idealistic to some skeptics. But we have to frame this idealism as a necessary counter-narrative to despair. For those of us just exhausted by the fear-driven climate discourse, this book isn't just ideas, it's like a manifesto of possibility. It offers this vital, re-energizing force. It allows us to see a path forward that feels both ambitious and attainable, not by ignoring the challenges, but by focusing on the solutions. It helps us find those aha moments by showing that action isn't just about sacrifice or struggle. It's about building something truly better, connecting science, society, and our shared future in these new, really inspiring ways.
Absolutely. It just opens up new ways of thinking, connecting those dots between science, society, our shared future, turning what feels like a daunting challenge into potentially an exciting opportunity for creation. So to recap everything, What If We Get It Right by Ayana Elizabeth Johnson offers this really powerful and necessary reframing of the climate crisis. It moves us from paralysis to possibility by vividly envisioning successful, just, and regenerative futures across clean energy, ecological restoration, equitable communities, and those crucial cultural shifts. It's a compelling argument that hope, when it's backed by science and our collective imagination, isn't a luxury. It's an absolute necessity for real, lasting change.
Indeed. And this deep dive, it wasn't just about the climate fight itself, was it? It was about that profound act of reclaiming the future with imagination, with justice, with determination. It's about understanding that our collective vision for what's possible, well, that's the critical first step towards making it real, inviting all of us to participate in that creative process.
So here's a final thought for you to mull over. If imagining failure has been such a powerful motivator for some, what new doors for action, for innovation could truly open if we collectively dare to deeply, vividly, and scientifically imagine what it means to get it right? We invite you to consider how your own imagination can contribute to this paradigm shift and help design the future we truly want. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.